ladies and gentlemen, with thunderous applause, help me welcome the speakers for the day, Mr. Samarjit and Minati Chaudhary from Bangalore.
Thank you, folks. Thank you for such a warm welcome. How are you guys doing? Wrong question to ask, right? Okay, how many of you are here for first time? First time you are attending it, right? So I'm sure you are finding yourself out of place, right? Sunday morning, these guys have lost their minds. Yeah, I know it's been a similar journey for all of us. We lost our mind and got our mind back also, so just chill out for next couple of hours and we'll have a great fun. So we are Samarjit and Minati Chaudhary. We are coming from Bangalore, and by background, both of us have worked in IT for a few years in Bangalore, and today we are here for a purpose. I think a few of the folks who has invited you today would have told you that your life will be changed if you attend this event, right? How many of you have heard this already? If you are coming first time, they have told you your life will change. Still you came, right? You're not scared, right? But I'll tell you how this life change, so that you guys can make yourself ready for this event. See, when we saw this event for the first time, way back in early 2000, similarly, the folk who invited us, he told us, Sam, your life will never be same again. It will change completely after this event. And so I said, what do you mean? He had no answer. But today I realized what life change means. See, what it means is that we see the world according to the data that is there in our mind. We don't see it through our eyes, right? We don't see it through our eyes. We see through the from the data that is already there in the mind. So as soon as the data in the head changes, the way you see your life, way you see the world around you also changes. And after this event today, right, you will see a different world around you. You will see a different life around you, and that's how your life will change, right? So that's a promise. So I'll just bring up Minati to say hi, and then we'll take it forward. So give a big rousing applause to Minati.
Hello everyone. How many of you are excited? Both of us are excited to talk to you guys, and in this first half we are going to share our experience, the journey through this business, just to give you a belief that anybody can come and make the business. And I'll give the mic back to Sam, and I'll come back and share my story too. Thank you.
All right, guys. So first part, for next 1 hour, we'll be sharing the journey that we took while we started this business and how we have come so far. And they call it our story. And as soon as we say you'll have to hear our story, it's like, what are you talking about? Sunday morning, paying 300 rupees, your story. Life may, there isn't something better in life. See, there was a diamond who came to Bangalore, Orissa, and he was saying when he started his business journey, he was in a very bad situation in his life. He had no job, he was married, he had a kid. And since he was very ambitious in life, he was not willing to take any kind of work. He was very precise about what he was looking for. And so somebody showed him this business, and he was sent from to Bhubaneswar, which was around 4 hours from where he was staying, to attend a similar session. And he went there. That time it was early 2000. The ticket price was $150. And he was very angry because he didn't have a job, and the person who told him to go there and attend didn't say that the ticket cost something. Right? So he was very angry, saying, 150 rupees I have to shell out now after coming all the way. So anyways, he came all the way, he paid $150. He sat inside, and the speaker, they came on the stage and they started, going that, now we'll share our story. And he was like, am I such a low life that now I have to pay money to listen to somebody's story? And he was very angry. And by the time the event got over, he realized that unless I listen to some people's stories who have achieved big levels in life, there's no way I can reach higher levels in life. And from then onwards, he started attending a lot of these sessions to listen to a lot of people's stories who have achieved something in life. And today he was diamond, last year around December, where his income has crossed over 60-70 lakhs annually from that place. And he says, shared that one of the reasons that he could achieve such big heights in life from where he was because he got inspiration from a lot of people who achieve big things from nowhere, right? So that's the point of us, sharing our story right now. See, I'm from Assam, okay? I did my schooling in Assam. My dad was into railways. I have a brother. My mom was a housewife. And after my schooling, I went directly into engineering after 10th. There are a couple of colleges in India like that where you don't have to do 12th. You can directly go for engineering. And I was lucky enough to find such a college. And it was 6 years engineering, right? And it was in Arunachal Pradesh called Nerist. And I did my BTech in computer science from there. And in year 2000, after doing my BTech in computer science, I came down to Bangalore, the cyber city of India, right? And I started my job. How many of you people are working as a professionals here? If you're sitting here, you're a professional, can you raise your hands? All right, so you can relate to what I'm saying. So as soon as I landed up in job, suddenly I started witnessing, very, very funny stuffs around me, right? The first thing that I saw was that I was told to sign a paper that I will not be doing any other thing apart from job. That paper was signed by me, right? And that was very funny. It was almost like a bonded labor, I had to sign that. Anyway, so that was one thing I saw. Second thing, after 6-8 months, I could see that in the status meetings, the project leader or the project manager would come and they would share this stuff. Take ownership of your work again and again. Take more ownership of your work. How many of you heard this? You guys have heard this? Take more ownership of your work. And it was funny because never did I hear that you take ownership of your work and also take ownership of the profits that your work generates. I never heard that. It's like only ownership of the work, but not about the money. Money's ownership is the company's owner. And the funny thing was also that the company's owner was actually investing or starting different businesses. Whereas he took sign on the paper that I'll be only doing this job and nothing else. Isn't it very funny? Right? Doesn't make any sense, and you feel very small suddenly. And so these are the things that I started seeing, and suddenly I saw that the salary which I was told I'll be paid was not the same. Suddenly a lot of money was paid to the government on the paper. And what do? You just go through because everybody is going through the same process, and you also go through. So that was the journey that I started my IT career with. I was a good student, so I liked the work that I did. I was into C, C++, Linux back, domain. I was building up a server for a project. So it was fun, working in that domain. But eventually, within a couple of years, my roommate who was in Infosys in Bangalore, he saw this business through his colleague in the office. And he came down in the home and said, what, Sam, there is a business that a couple of our friends in the room, we are 5 roommates, we are starting. Would you be interested to do something? I said, what business? And they said, if you start this business with some 7,000-8,000 rupees, you will be paid 600 rupees every single month. So that was the plan in one line, right? And I said, is it a pension scheme, right? They said, no, it's a business. I said, what kind of business is that? You'll get 600 rupees every month. He said, this way. I said, it will not work. He said, just go there, you'll not even get a chance to do this business, so you better decide or you'll be left out. I said, I don't care, you guys go ahead and build it, it doesn't make any sense to me. So I left it. But next day when I went to office, I was thinking, see, my roommates are very, very ambitious. A couple of them wanted to do MBA in US and very ambitious. They were not satisfied with what they had, that is job. So I thought, man, these guys will anyways move ahead in life, and I'm this stupid, egoistic guy, having some assumptions, I'll be left behind, I'll be looking very stupid, I'll be made to look very stupid down the road. So I wrote a mail immediately from my office to my roommate that whatever it is I'm starting, tell me how to start. So he said, come to the evening, come in the evening to this office. He gave me a location, I went there, and 5:30 in the evening, they gave me a form, I signed up with my credit card, took some products, and that's how I started this business, right? And I met my uplines there first time. Right? Uplines means the people who actually got my roommate into the business. So one of them was our upline emerald, founder's emerald, Kashyap Kumar Samal, right? Yeah, give a big hand to him, right? So that was the first time in my life that I got access to people beyond my college. Obviously, some people were there in my office also, but this was a different group of crowd. See, this was the first time I met some real intellects in my life, right? See, Kashyap was a scientist in G. In fact, Kashyap is also senior of my wife from REC Raulkela. He was a scientist in G. At that point of time, he had 6 patents in X-rays. He had also had GRE score of 2340, and he was also holding a green card. You know, very, very studious. You can make out from his eyes, very focused. And I got extremely fired up. Reason of me getting fired up was he was exactly telling all the hypocrisy that I witnessed in my job going on. So he was an achiever. And what he was saying was exactly what I observed in the job. You know, that employees, it was almost like we guys don't have any brains and stuff, and we were almost like bonded labor. You know, we signed up some paper for some wage, some salary, and we were told to do certain things in certain period of time. Have lunch at this particular time, do this, do that. No choices of us much. And at the end of the year, basically, the success formula that me and all the employees typically in this city and every city of this country has is work hard whole year and then pray to God that you get some decent hike in appraisal. Right? That's the success formula. And this is after so much years of education, this is the best we could find. Work hard and they pray in the appraisal. Can you believe it? And he said, can you believe it? All these highly intelligent, highly educated people, their success formula in the life ultimately ends here. Work hard whole year and then pray during appraisal. And if they can't give the hike that you aspire for, which is most of the cases, 80% of the time, you just scream and cry. That's all. And he said, this is the life that most of the educated people have taken up, and obviously it doesn't make sense. So I could relate to it, and I got extremely fired up. And he was talking about living life on your terms by becoming financially independent and so on and so forth. And with that excitement, what happened was I was actually totally changed my lifestyle. You know, I was a big cricket fan. I used to watch sports like anything. I had bought TV on the first salary of mine, and suddenly stopped watching cricket, stopped watching TV. I was reading a lot, whatever books, Magic of Thinking Big, those CDs, and I was trying to work this business out, doing contacting and all that. Because of the sudden change, but because of sheer excitement about the future that I could see for myself, coming from a very, this normal middle class background, I really lost it mentally. I became very excited, and I landed up in hospital. Right? Yeah, I'm not kidding. I actually forgot my job. The interesting part is, I totally lost my way of thinking. I got superly excited. I mean, it's probably tremendous amount of vibration happened inside, some chemical, you probably guys know it, chemical imbalance. And I was in hospital. I forgot my office. My roommates had to call my manager in the office, and manager and my roommates took me to the hospital. Can you believe it? And I had no clue what they're doing. So I was in the hospital for a month. My dad came from Assam to see me with my brother, and as you can understand, he was horrified to see what happened. And doctor said it will take him a year to recover. Can you believe? Doctor said it will take a year for him to recover and take him home. But with God's grace, I got to my senses very soon. I could realize something is wrong. And with medicines, it worked. And see, in 2001, I graduated in 2000. By 2001 May, I saw this business. 2000 July, I went to hospital. By 2000 August, I came back to Bangalore, almost recovered, right, with magic. And doctors couldn't believe it, but that's how it was. So August 2001, I came back, joined my company again. In fact, my uplines were very scared of me now. You can understand, right? They didn't want to see me much. I'm just kidding, but I went for a ticket for my mom. Dad was there. Dad said, you don't ever go to these business meetings, forget Amway, forget business, forget everything, just focus on your career. I said, sure. I just waited for him to leave. And as soon as he left, I went to the PACE meeting. But life had some other plans. By September 2001, 9/11 thing happened. Right? The two towers fell down. It was so fast, things were happening. And the company that I used to work for, it was a product development company. And it closed down because the ventures capitalists pulled out their money. They were not providing any more money for the investment. And obviously, this guy didn't have any money to pay his salary. So within 6 months of that 9/11, this company closed down. Now, the people who are telling me focus on the career, now how could I focus on the career when the company itself cannot focus on its work, if you understand what I mean? Right? There's a message to it. Anyways, so I lost my job. After that 9 months, I was without a job. By this time, my roommates, 4 of my roommates, they also got negative about the business, seeing me and things they did in the business, their friends, they talked to few people, nobody showed interest, so they figured that this business will not work, right? I will share this later. They figured this business will not work, so they quit. And they wanted me also to quit because all this stuff that happened. I said, no, nothing doing, I will not quit. You guys do whatever, but just leave me alone, you know. And they could see that I was not at all, I had totally changed. I was so passionate about this business. And passionate was because I wanted my freedom. I could see that this business will give me a life where I could live my life on my own terms. And that's all I wanted. Right? I was sick and tired of reporting to somebody and all this stuff. I couldn't see myself doing it for so many years. Anyway, so after a couple of months of losing my job, my roommates saw that this guy is not interested in getting job again. He's not studying and he's only working in the business. So they got pissed off to an extent, and all of them wrote me a mail that, Sam, I don't think we can stay together anymore. You find some other place, right? And I said, okay. And I called my upline that this is the scene and I don't have a job. They knew it. They said, don't worry about it. So this was Avinash, my upline sponsor. And he also happens to be from same college of Minati, REC Raulkela. And he said, my juniors are there who are also in the business. They will have a space for you. They are staying 3 together, but it's a 2 BHK house. You can fit in there. So take your stuff and come here. So I went to those people's, house to stay. Totally strangers, right? Leaving my college buddies for 6 years. And they told me, you know what, Sam, till you get a job, don't have to pay rent. Just stay here, don't worry about it. Yeah. And see, I'm telling you very casually, but there is a deep meaning inside this, This is our extended family, and it has got more closeness because of values and principles that we follow. And the kind of tightness that I had with the strangers for life, I never had with any of the people or friends outside, because everybody got busy with their life, right? And so they told me, and it took me another 9 months to get a job, right? So a lot of stuff's happened, and a lot of people asked me, Sam, so many things happened. How could you stay in the business? What made you? Even recently, people asked, how do you figure that it will work for you? Because life was going haywire, right? You landed up in hospital. Say, as soon as I landed up in hospital, what do you think would have happened? What was my relatives, idea or their response when they realized that their own Sam was a good student, landed up in hospital starting a business? How much positivity they had about the business? Obviously, you can understand, right? How about my colleagues? In fact, entire my college community, the batch of mine, the seniors of mine, the message was spread that Sam lost his mind, landed up in hospital, starting his own business. In English, it sounds nice, but in Hindi, they call pagal ho gaya. Right? So that was my start, and then lost job. And then my friend said, go stay somewhere else. But I didn't flinch an eye, right? And I think that's how most successes are, If you stand up for something, see, today, a lot of people applaud and clap and respect and recognize for what I have achieved. But it's only because I stood up for something, right or wrong? Right? And in 2003, I got a job again through the business community. Some cross-line friend of mine figured that I didn't have a job, so he figured that there's a position in his company. And then he invited me to have a, interview there. And I got through. And that's where I met my wife, Minati. Can you believe it? How life is linked. And that's where I met Minati, and the journey started. So I'll just bring up Minati to share, her journey, how she got into the business from that point on. And I'll come back and share you this most interesting thing that people always keeps asking me, even today. How could you stay in the business? What did you see? What made you go through all this stuff? Fight against your family, fight against relatives, fight against your friends, fight against the world. What gave you that much of conviction and courage to stick onto this business, leaving everything aside? So I'll come back and share. That's very interesting. Give a big round of applause to Minati.
Thank you. Thank you guys. As I said, both of us are quite excited to talk to you guys in Chennai because Chennai has been very close to us. Not that we are from Chennai, but we have grown from this Chennai. Anyway, to start with, I come from a middle class family in Odisha. There's a place called Barampur, southern part of Odisha. A middle class family. Dad was a banker, mom was a housewife. So it was literally a middle class family. We didn't have luxuries, but we had the comfort in life. But the main and the first foremost thing in our life was study well, get a good education, and get a good job, and then you are done in life. So I was always good in my studies from the beginning, and I have an elder brother, elder sister. So three of us studied so well. And the main thing, one more thing they taught in our life is everything matters, but your values and characters has to be intact. And we grew up, when we grew up, Dad said that I can't afford to send you to any college that you choose, probably not with a donation that I can pay, but I can send you the college that you choose without paying a single pie from my pocket. So I decided to study well. I got into NIT Rourkela, and life was all set. How many of you can literally be, still can feel your initial days of your engineering or your professional career that you choose? I can still feel that because you are young, you get into the best education, and then you feel that you are set for the life. I also thought I'm set for the life and overconfidence, so studied well, enjoyed the life, and by 2002, I thought my life will be set but by 2001, the slowdown hit in the US market, and that's where India market also got affected. And 2002, I didn't have a job. There used to be very less campus placements those days, so I chose to come to Bangalore because my elder brother used to stay and see how the life is in circle. And I came to Bangalore because my elder brother was there, and I didn't know I'll meet him and I'll marry, and the rest of my story will be written here. Anyways, and I got into a job through my brother's one reference. It was just a startup. And with few months of my joining there was one more employee. Okay, suddenly I saw, because we used to be only 15 to 20 employees, so you know each other's name, and when you are a fresher, probably you know the CEO's name also. It don't matter, you can go and share the lunch table with your CEO also. So for me, it didn't matter. Because I used to be so talkative, I can strike a conversation with anybody. So one day while having lunch, I saw a new employee. So if you're a fresher, what do? You can ask his or her name. So I did the same. Hey, where are you from? You seems to be new. And then the conversation happened that his roommates were my college seniors. So they say that everything is in the destiny. If it has to happen, it will happen. So, and that's where the conversation happened, and with few months of conversation, he proposed me. But let me tell you, I cold contacted him first. But he showed me the life's best example, the life's best plan that I couldn't say no. And if you're a lady or a guy or whatever, if your other spouse comes and who is very smart, in this case he was very smart, very sharp, and he used to wear good clothes, and he was quite humorous. When he proposed, because we had already the friendship, so I couldn't say no. And that's where the next part of our life was started. And when I was almost 2 years in the industry, job was going well, but then slowly I could feel that the pressure is going to be quite high and the career demanded much, so we couldn't meet on a daily basis. And then he used to say that, why don't you come over? Why don't you come over to meetings? I'll drop you back. But before that, let me tell you, what is that the thing that strike me in the business is, the first date that we had over a cup of ice cream, because both of us don't take coffee or tea, so we had to meet in an ice cream parlor. And what he told me, most of the times when a couple or a new couple they meet, they talk about a whole lot of things, but he told, we have basmati rice in our business. Those days, 2003-4 time, and we used to get this basmati rice in the catalogs, and I couldn't understand anything. I didn't have to literally go back and do a verification. Is he a rice trader? Is he doing some trading? Is he a businessman? I didn't have to think. Probably his innocence what I liked, and he was very, very passionate about what he was doing. So I didn't have to ask about much. I said, wow, that's it. And I don't remember much. And as we couldn't meet very often, and I had to come to Pace and Open so that we could meet. And while going back home, he would drop me back home, and that was the common points for me to meet in those meetings. But do you feel that I could understand anything? I couldn't understand because I was just very fresh in the industry, and I didn't have any liabilities or responsibilities from my family side because I was the youngest one. So this money and nothing did matter to me. But one thing mattered to me is I could see a whole lot of ladies, professionals with very sharp nature and their friendly gesture, which made me understand, wow, they are doing something good. Wow, they're the people that I would like to spend that rest of my life with them. And that made me kept coming. If you are here for the first time, or if you are part of any new meeting, any such meetings, initial days of your business career, if you are not able to understand, let me tell you, if you can pick one thing that you like, go back home and try to analyze that and keep coming back. And you don't know how and where your life will change, your thought process will change, and it will keep you going in the business. And we met, and that's where unofficially I become his partner in business activities. I used to be part of all pays and open, and I used to do my responsibilities as a lady normally does in the business. Not that I could start doing everything from the day one. I took time too, but I kept coming. The two things I gained. One was like I could meet him. Second thing was I could meet a whole lot of ladies. I could make a friendship with them. Otherwise, what do you do? Normally, if you're not from the same state where you live, you can't do a social get-together all the time. So what is that you do? For me, the second option was to come to the meetings and meet these ladies and meet Sam and go back home. We got married in 2006, and it was a very huge story. Probably most of you know that we got married in all conditions or situations or climax that you see in movies. A couple, they meet and the family is not in favor of that. What do? They marry? Still they marry? So we did that. When we got married, his parents were in favor of our marriage, but my parents were not in favor of our marriage. So we got married in a very dramatic situation. We didn't have any fights. Okay, there was no action, but there was emotions, drama, and there was everything. And the best part of the story was all our uplines, all our downlines were involved in that. And I don't think if it was not in the business, normally I have seen that couple, they marry probably with few friends, but we married almost 50, 40 of us downlines and 10 of us uplines. So it was the best marriage. I don't say that you should have the same life, you should have the same situation what I had, but I'll tell you, if not the business, I couldn't have, probably if I have to look back, I feel a good feel that I had some friends, I had some well-wishers during my marriage. Anyway, whatever happened for the best, because my parents came back and they have literally accepted us big time, and they have supported us also big time. If not the business, I'll tell you why. See, now they support in a bigger way that whenever we travel, they come back, they come from Odisha to Bangalore to look after our son. We have a son of 5.5 years old. And they come back all the time to help us. See, we now live in a 3 BHK duplex house. So when I was delivering, for those few months we didn't have any pace in our houses. So they couldn't like it because it was a 3 BHK house, two of us, our brother-in-law and my son. So what you people do in just four of you in a 3 BHK house, but when they come back now, they see paces all the time. It's like full, and all the toilets, all the bedrooms are getting utilized. They just like it. They say, best thing is happening. They keep asking, are people coming? Do you guys meet often? During first week of the month, they know that people would come to a house. They feel that we have prospered. Okay, it's a nice thing. Anyway, we got married in 2006 and we became silver in 2006 December. And the 7 was our platinum ship, and then 8 was Founders Platinum, 9 was Ruby, and I was carrying that time 1st September 2009, I delivered my son, and the same month we started our Emerald qualification also. And see, what is the best about the businesses? I was busy with my delivery and all, but our business just didn't fall back because we had literally worked on our numbers, on our foundation. So I didn't have to literally break my head whether should I look after my son or should I look after the business. I was looking after my son, he was busy building the business. Anyways, the business rewards are huge. The first reward of the business is I got the best partner in my life. The partner that I feel I pinch myself. Probably if you are married for some time, sometimes you don't feel that is it true, but let me tell you, I go back and think that whatever has happened, my destiny has brought me to the best man in my life, the best father for our son. I'll tell you, it is nothing to brag about, is that both of us are better individuals. Both of us are better individuals to work upon our marriage. And we are the best parents to our son, who is 5.5 years old. I'll tell you why. See, when I was working, I didn't have a career which was very, very stressful, but I could literally see my colleagues and subordinates and my managers who were married and they had kids to look after. They were literally having a struggle in all aspect of their life. It's not that they were successful, but they were literally struggling. And I never wanted to have those kind of life where I'm not able to give the full time to my son, neither I'm able to give the justice to my career. See, I'm not asking anybody to just kick out something that you are good with, but it's all the time a big struggle. And now let me tell you, when my son goes to school from 9 to 1, the time he comes back, we three are like best buddies. We cuddle, and my son has the best buddy to share his feelings and his excitement. See, what I have seen the growing age when the kid doesn't find at least the mom, forget about the dad, but the conventional way, if the kid doesn't find the mom around, they look for some other companion outside. But here my son is able to share his feelings, is the best buddy. He doesn't have to look after some other companion in life. What is the second thing it could be? When a lady is especially working, it is like probably 9 to 6 or 9 to 9. So when does the mom or the dad come back and gives the best values, best teachings in life? Probably they come back, they give a hug, they give the food to the son or the daughter and they go back to sleep. Probably the weekends they are busy taking the kids to the activities or they are busy doing the groceries. But here we are able to give the time to him. And the values, see what he has gone through. When I was delivering, the pregnancy was quite normal, but during delivery I had a certain issues. I delivered him, but he was in ICU for 21 days. And that impacted a whole lot of things because he had his certain milestones in his life got delayed and we had to give therapy now. Now because I'm all the time at home, I'm able to give therapy to him whenever he requires. But whereas I have seen other friends of mine or colleagues of mine whose kids also have gone through the same situation, they are not able to give the same time to the kid because they go back to office, they get the kid to the therapy center, they drop the kid, they go back office, they can come back and pick it. It's just a miserable life that I see. It's a life struggling in between everything. And here it's just a peaceful life that I'm able to think about something that I can give the best in his requirements. And both of us are better individuals. As I said, both of us look young, isn't it? Yes, absolutely. Anywhere you see people in the business because they use artistry big time, they use Nutrilite big time, so the healths are much better, the skins are much better. They don't look as per their age at all. And not only that, see this rewards, foreign trips. How many of you literally want to go these foreign trips without paying a single pie from your pocket? Absolutely. See, middle class families, when we have 1 lakh for our budget, we say probably 2 lakhs also. We say, why not to go to Kulu Manali? Or probably Kurg, or probably Kodaikanal, we can manage with 50,000. Rest 50,000, let's try to put it in the bank. That's a middle class mentality. But because of the business, I literally don't have to worry that, do I have to pay 3, 4, 5 lakhs from my pocket to a foreign destination? But it was all possible through the business because Amway gives us these foreign trips. We have been traveling to 6, 7 locations so far. From the job also, I got a chance to go there, but it was all the time I used to convert. That I was in UK for 3 months, so I would convert how much I can save. But here I don't have to worry that how much I can save. And both of us never wanted to go and live abroad. That was the first priority for us, that whatever happens, we don't want to leave India. And because of the business, we stay in India, but we travel globally. And it was very much possible because of the business opportunity. And we never wanted to buy anything on EMI. The moment we got in the business not only teaches you to better individual, it teaches you to how to manage well with your finances. So the moment we came, we learned that we don't have to show to the society by taking a toll on our finances. And we could understand that the finances that we take care of now, it will give a big pie in future. So we never wanted to buy anything on EMI. We bought a house. It was one of the luxuries properties in Bangalore. We paid almost 1 crore and not paying a single pie as a EMI from our pocket. How many feel that it's a... Absolutely. I see that. I was just talking to one of my colleagues 2 days back. She said one more common friend of ours has bought 2 flats. I know that it must be a huge EMI. And what do? Especially in Bangalore, I've seen that when they have a EMI, probably the husband or the wife go to on-site or sometimes they both are good, they go on set, otherwise they don't mind staying away from each other for months and years together. We never wanted to, if we are married, let's be married. Why do we live like a bachelor? Still we can live like a bachelor. So what's the fun of getting married? And what else? I can talk about a whole lot of things. There are a few more things I would add. As they said now, money is not everything. How many of you believe? But 90% of your problems can be solved with money. Isn't it? They say it's one of the joke I remember. It's better to cry in a Mercedes rather than in a cycle. Okay, and when we were working, because we were building our career also, so it was not easy for both of us to travel to our hometown every now and then. Because you can take once in a year, probably twice in a year, but last 2013, his cousin got married, we decided to go to Durga Puja. So we took almost 3 vacations the same year. Do we literally have to worry that, can we take those vacations, can we take those holidays, do we have to come back and ask our managers to approve? Not at all. And we have much more in balance in life. The balance is not only with the money, the balance is all the time with the time also. It was all possible because we decided to build the business. It was not we initially, Samajit decided to build the business. And I'm very, very thankful to God, very, very thankful to our parents, very, very thankful to our upline LOS. Can you give a big round of applause? And it was all possible because the men in my life decided to build the business so strong, so I didn't have to look back. And I'll tell you, if you think that money is not everything, or if you feel that you don't need the money, you have enough, why don't you build the business so that you can earn money for your immediate family? But if you feel that your immediate family, your relatives, your uncle, auntie, everybody is well off, why don't you build the business for the society? You can definitely build the business and earn the money and give it back to the society. With this, I'm done, and back to my crown, Sam.
All right, awesome, guys. Wonderful. All right, so, the most interesting part comes now. If you're evaluating this business, you want to pay attention, right? See, why did I take this business up so seriously? The first thing that they made me understand, and it was easy for me to understand because I was a computer science engineer, right? How many of you are computer science engineer here? IT guys, right? A lot of you. How many of you are civil engineers? Anybody civil engineer here? Right? So you guys will understand. See, basically, in IT, there is ISO 9001 process. Now, the better is CMI level 5. So the company that I used to work, I worked in avionics industry. I worked for software part of aeroplanes, Boeing and Airbus, those kind of projects I worked in. So they had stringent rules because I used to work in level A, level B software. Anything goes wrong with the software, catastrophic events will happen. So there was very stringent quality process. So there is a process of engineering. The first thing that you do in IT is something called as requirement collection, right? And then you come up with a design document. In the requirement collection, there is a low-level requirement. Everything has to be precise. Nothing can be missed. And then the design document, and then you come with the planning, right? And then you basically start executing, right? The work starts after all this processes happens. And if you don't follow this, you cannot be certified as CMI level 5. And in today's scenario, company cannot survive, right? That's also with civil engineering. I think anybody of you have built a house or a complex, I don't think anybody have done that without a blueprint in their hand. First, there was a design, right or wrong, right? And this problem, that so many of us, intelligent, well-educated people, have ultimately a very average life is because our education system failed to tell us certain very, very basic. And thank God, I didn't waste much time in my life. And they told me this basic stuff, which I could correlate, and it made me understand that I would have been lost otherwise, right? What is that basic stuff? See, they explained to me that if you have to have a grand building, if it looks grand, I mean, the word comes out from your mouth looking at it, wow. There has to be a design first of that building, right? It cannot happen by default that without a document, without a blueprint, somebody build a grand building. Similarly, if there is a grand product, an IT product, there has to be a proper requirement collection first, and design document has to be there, right? And then they said, if you want a grand life, a life which you feel, wow, what a great life I am living. Other people also can see and say, wow, what a great life he has. Unless somebody would have set and had a design document sort of a thing for their life, Is it possible to have a grand life by default? Hello? Is it possible? No. So for example, what they explained me is that, Sam, unless you sit down and design your life, that how do you want your life to shape up in 5 years time, 10 years time, a grand life that you can envision for yourself, which is the right thing to do. You have the fundamental right to design your life that way, especially in a country like India where economy is growing, is going to be one of the top markets in coming future. Unless you do that, by default, what kind of a building will be built if there is no design document? If there is no blueprint, what kind of building will come up? An average, right? What kind of software will come up if there is no specific, precise requirement collection or design document? What kind of product will come up? Will it be a grand or a very average kind of a product? Average. So similarly, if somebody doesn't sit down and design his life, a very average default life will show up. And that's what majority of the people live, because they don't have a design document for their life. And in our business, they call it dream. But actually, because I was engineer, I could understand the word is vision. You have to visualize. And again, our education system has activated our one part of our brain, which is the analysis part, right? The IQ part. How to. See, a lot of people are sitting here and probably are listening to me through a CD maybe, and you might be thinking, okay, what I have to do, what has to be done here? But the other part of the brain, right, which actually can visualize, which actually can dream, which actually can contemplate, that has been inactivated for most of us because of our education system and the process that we follow in our job, because most of the time it is given in our hand that this is how you do it. There's hardly a scope of visualization. And forget about life. Nobody in our lifetime in 16 years education, mostly parents, because parents also are from middle class background, most of them, they didn't tell us to sit down and plan your life. Nobody. But understand, we are actually doing it for somebody else. In our profession, in a lot of things, even if you have a marriage at your home, that has to be planned in advance. Nobody goes to execute a marriage even just like that without proper planning in their paper. So how come all of us have this significant thing of ourselves called life, which is also a project, goes about it without a proper planning or proper design document? Think about it. Right? So that is the first thing they told me. And they said you have to plan your life in these 4 areas: health, finance, emotional part of your life, and spirituality. These are the 4 areas you have to plan and design and visualize your life first. Just like you do in your software, just like you do in civil engineering. Because life is a project, otherwise you'll have a default life. So health, obviously, see, today we work out every single day, 5 days a week, me and my wife, we work out. But that's because we have a proper vision that we want to be fit and slim. That's why we do it. Finance, absolutely. They explained me that if I am in a job, how many of you realize that if you are working in a job, if I am working in a job, I am financially dependent on my employer? How many of you realize that? Right? We are financially dependent on our employer, on the company that we work in. Now, after all these years of education, how bright it is, how glorified it is that I keep myself and my family financially dependent on another human being. How glorified it is. They said you need not do that. Right? You can plan and design to be financially independent. That is the right thing to be. Right or wrong? Common sense, what does it tell you? Should I stay financially dependent and keep my family financially dependent? Or I should strive and plan and figure out how to make myself financially independent, and how can I make my family financially independent? What should I do? Financially independent. So they explained me the science of it. They said in this society, in this Bangalore, in Chennai, in every part of the country and the world, there are 4 people who are earning money. There are employees, self-employed, business owners, and investors. These are the only 4 ways you can earn money in this society. And they said this employees and self-employed, they're on the left-hand side of a quadrant, and the right-hand side are businessmen and investors. And the interesting part is, if you see left-hand side, employees and self-employed, most educated people in this society, right? Where is the most educated people, left or right? Left. Where are the most wealthiest people in this society, left or right? Right, where the businessmen and investors are. And they said 90% population are on the employee self-employed side, 10% population is on the business and investor side. And then they came out with this most interesting stats. They said 90% population, if you take the entire wealth of this country into a pie chart, if you make a pie chart of the entire wealth of this country, India, 10% of that pie chart is distributed, or 90% of our population is having control or ownership of 10% of this wealth of this pie chart. And the 90% of the wealth is controlled and owned by 10% of that population, which is business owners and investors. And they said, Sam, you being a very educated and intelligent person, financially you have made a very dumb decision. That is, to jump into this 90% population. So I jumped in employment with this 90% population to fight and strive for the 10% stake. Just imagine, that is the fact. 90% of the population in this country are fighting for the 10% wealth of this country. And the 10% of the population has 90% of the wealth to compete for. So if you have to be financially successful, which side you want to go and compete in? Right side, right? So owning your own business is not a rocket science. Have to do it. You can't have a great finance if I'm on the 90% population competing for 10%. And that's why so much layoff, because only 10% of this country's wealth can be paid as salary. There is only that much that can be paid. So, yeah, right? So TCS fired so many people. TCS is actually doing well. TCS is actually doing well. And these are the kind of hypocrisy I saw. See, in my company that I used to work, every annual day, there was an annual day every year, and they would actually parade. They would welcome all the 5 years, please help me welcome Mr. So-and-so. He has completed 5 years in this company. Please give a big hand. Man, what achievement is 5 years completion or 10 years completion? He's just aging. By default, he will complete. Right? Now think about it. Think about it. I'm not putting down anything. These are some facts. See, for example, I right now own a car which is 8 years old. It is beaten up car. Right? And tomorrow, Diamond, he has bought a new car. But because my car is so experienced for 8 years on the road, his new car is supposed to respect my car. That's the kind of way people operate. Right? And no doubt, TCS has fired all these beaten up cars from their company because they want the fresh cars. Do you understand? It's a business decision. But since we have no achievement, so what can you clap for? Clap for people who has completed 5 years. And that's the stuff we saw. But if I have to be achiever, I have to shift on the other side. Make sense? Next, coming to this very, very interesting thing. So what they explained is to financially successful, or what is the right thing to do, because finance plays a very important role in every human being's life and their family's life. So finance is a domain that we should actually shine or strive to shine in. It's a domain, it's a subject. Just like computer science, just like civil engineering, just like sports, finance is also a subject. If you study it well, if you learn it well, you can also shine in that subject. But you have to know the basics, you have to know the fundamentals, right? So in this way, you're getting this message. So what they explained to me is that there is something called an asset. There's a term called assets. And there is a term called liabilities. And this is after 16 years of education, 2 years of my job, I had no clue about these terms. Can you believe it? Financial terms, basic terms, I had no clue. And a lot of the people, probably after 10 years, has no clue. What is asset? What is liabilities? What is net worth? So let me explain this. How many of you have heard this in your job already? I have heard it multiple times, and after some time, I had to actually close my ears. I can't take it anymore. How many of you heard this? Work hard and build your career. How many of you heard this? Right? Build your career. Now, I'll take a simple example. Okay, there are 3 people, let's say in this auditorium, or in Chennai or Bangalore, anywhere. There are 3 people, Mr. A, Mr. B, and Mr. C. So Mr. A is what I used to do. He has a job. He has built up a career for 15 years. And his salary right now is, say, 1 lakh rupees take home. So he has built a phenomenal career, so-called build career, right, in a job. So 1 lakh rupees per month salary. Mr. B, like me today, has built up a business. This business, or restaurant business, or showroom business, or any business. He has built up a business. So he also takes 1 lakh rupees per month as his business income. Right? Mr. C actually has built up a real estate property. So he has 5-6 houses in Chennai, let's say, or in Bangalore. Cumulatively, he makes 1 lakh rupees as rent per month. So you agree? These 3 kind of people are existing in this society. Right? So one earns 1 lakh rupees from job, one earns 1 lakh rupees from business, one from house rent. Let's say simultaneously, all these three people has issues in life and suddenly they need a lot of cash in their hand. Some family emergency has come up. They need a lot of money in their hand. Now, if Mr. C is there, he owns 5-6 houses. Can he sell off his houses and get some 5-6 crores in his hand? Right? He'll get 5-6 crores. So what is 5-6 crores? 5-6 crores is nothing but his net worth. So whatever assets he has, like real estate properties, if you sell it off, that's the cash you get. That's his net worth. So that's what he has built. Real estate property he has built. So he gets 5-6 crores. Now, a person like me or somebody who has other business, if he decides to sell off this business, right? Can he get 5-6 crores? Yeah. See, for example, a lot of people don't know that our business is an asset. You can sell it off. You know, just like WhatsApp was bought by LinkedIn, by Facebook for 19 billion. So WhatsApp was a wonderful product. But BCCI is also a very wealthy institute or wealthy organization in this country or the world. Do you think BCCI was interested to buy WhatsApp? No, it's irrelevant to their domain. Similarly, there is tomorrow a great young cricketer at age of 12, 13, 14 in Chennai, let's say. Very talented, like how Sachin was. Do you think Facebook will show interest or BCCI will show interest? BCCI, depends on the domain. Similarly, our business, if I float to sell it off, if I say, there are double diamonds and EDCs and stuff people who would love to buy. It's an asset, right? So I can sell off, and restaurant can be sold off, and he can get 4, 5, 6 crores in his hand, right or wrong? A showroom can be sold off. Now, Mr. A, he has built up a fantastic career. Probably he's a master degree, MTech degree, MBA degree, whatever. What can he sell? Huh? But he has passionately built up the career with a lot of hard work, working in the weekends, overtime. Great career he has, and a lot of people respect him because 90% population, they don't understand this stuff. So career, wonderful career, wow, they clap. Now what can he sell? Can he give it to his son? Now you tell me, when I understood this stuff, that I can build a career in a job which is worthless, net worth is zero, or I could build a business which will carry crores of net worth. I could also pass it to my generation as a legacy. What should I do? Huh? It's common sense, right? So these are fundamental stuff which was cleared, and they said you design your life like that. Then they said emotional well-being. Emotional well-being means how happy and peacefulness you have in your mind, how mental peace you have, right? What kind of relationships you have around with your people around you. Make sense? Right? So they said, how many people are happy that you exist in this life? Right? I can't explain it in CD maybe, but they explain me that it's better to have your hand always like this, in a giving form, not like this. Right? For that I need money. So what they said is, emotional well-being, if you are not healthy, you cannot have emotional well-being. If you are not financially well off, if you are dependent, if your family is dependent financially on somebody else, you will not have emotional well-being. They also explained me that there is another entity in your life which is actually causing a lot of distress in your life. Can I see a raise of hands of people who are working in a job and they have a boss, but that boss is not adding any stress to your life right now? Can you raise your hands? Just see around, please raise your hands up. Just see around. Out of this almost 1,000 odd people, 3-4 people. Right? So they said, today me and my wife, we don't have boss since last 5 years. And I am not a fluke kind of a guy. Right? Look around. There are 10 people odd here. In Bangalore, my upline, Sasha Kumar Samal, retired in 2013 from GE as a scientist with 10 patents in his name finally. He left. But this didn't happen by fluke. We designed our life so that we don't have a boss in 4-5 years' time. We designed it. Make sense? So these are the stuff they taught me. And the last, the spiritual part, right? Which is basically knowing your best you. And it cannot happen unless you have time for all this. See, today, when I get up in the morning, I do pranayam, right? Then I spend time with my son before he goes off to school. At 11:30, I go to gym when the gym is empty, right? And then on the way back, I bring my son from the school, have lunch, play with him or, just enjoy. He's 5 years old. He cracks a lot of stuff. He shares his school stories. He does singing and blah, blah, blah. Enjoy with him till 3. And then go for the nap, which I used to miss in my office days. 11 years. Yeah. I have a 1.5 hour nap. And 4-5 p.m. I get up, have some evening snacks, and go building this business for 2-3 hours a day. Right? After I left my job, I went into musical class, attended musical class, which was my passion to learn classical music. For 6 months, I learned vocal. That was my dream. But point is, I have time for all this. Right? We are financially well. You know, in city like Bangalore, we have a great home of ourselves. We have decent bank balance. We also know the science of money. Right? We know how to make money with money. I'm just giving an example. I probably cannot get into details. In last 6 months, using 10 lakhs as an investment, I made 4.5 lakhs. I'm not bragging, but this is a science. As I say, it's a domain. If you know, you can do it. But you need time. You can't sit in the office for 12 hours and figure this stuff out. You can't. Right? Recognition and respect. What should I tell about that? See, in April, yeah. In April, they have invited me and my wife to Singapore to do this session for 2 days, twice. Yeah. Yeah. We travel around the world. In last 3-4 years, we have visited Melbourne cricket ground. Melbourne. Gilchrist was invited. Mika Singh was invited to dance and sing for us. That was in 2 years back. Last year, we were in Toronto, Niagara Falls. The first, before Melbourne, we were in Switzerland, Zurich. This year end, right? We are off to Paris on 18th of December, just before the Christmas, when Paris is at its best. And guess what? All these travels, we do it first class, and the hotels that we stay are all 5-star property, Grand Hyatt, Marriott, you name it. Right? Hilton, these are the places we stay, and we don't put it from our pocket. Somebody does it for us because we have achieved something better in life. So all these were the rewards that we knew that was available through this business project. Obviously can't happen through a job. So it was not a rocket science. It was not a brilliant decision for me to stick with this business. It was just common sense. How many of you think so? Yeah, it was common sense. If I can think for myself, it is the right thing to do. But the irony was that initially somebody had to motivate me. Although I was an adult of 23 years old, somebody had to motivate and explain me that, Sam, you need to succeed in life. Can you believe it? How stupid is that? And same thing, a lot of people here are sitting that needs to be convinced that, no boss, you should succeed in life. Don't stay dependent on somebody for finances in your life. You should become financially independent. And point is, somebody has to explain, none of our fault, our education system has to take a blame on that. Right? 16 years of education, I came out having a job, I still didn't know what are the tax rules of this country. Can you believe it? Unbelievable. We had no clue what are the tax laws, how an entrepreneur pays tax, how an employee pays tax, how a self-employed pays tax. We are not taught this stuff, as if it was not important. Guess what? How much time did I take to explain this? Half an hour maybe? This half an hour, if it was explained to us in 16 years of education, don't you think we would have thought something better? Yeah. Anyways, guys, if you're evaluating this business, the last thing that you probably would be thinking, okay, I have to do business to succeed financially in life. Why this business? So many other options are there. And that is the most interesting part. See, when you take business system into account, right? When you take entire business system into account, there are 3 entities. There are an entity which is actually manufacturing a product, or is coming up with a technical product or a electronic product or a service. They are called manufacturers or product developer, right? That is an entity, right? Probably I can draw it out. So there are 3 entities. This is the first entity. Any business system will have that, somebody who is coming up with a product or a service. So that is a business entity. You can make business profits doing that. Question is, apart from my job, can I get into that kind of a business domain and succeed with 10, 12 hours investment in a week? Can I compete in the market? First of all, do I have the capital to bring up to get into that domain? Answer is no, right? So not possible with job. Have to quit job and do it. If you quit your job and want to do something, there are tons of opportunities. But most of us have a family commitments, don't have that kind of idea, full broke, can't take a chance. So you're looking for something that we can build up apart from our job as a business asset. Second entity, somebody who is not able to come up with a product or a service, what they do is they retail and market these people's product or a service. These people are called, they're into distribution basically. They distribute somebody else's product or a service, right? Again, question is, can I compete in the market with 10, 12 hours of investment in as this entity? Getting into this kind of business domain, distributing somebody else's product or service, can I compete 10, 12 hours in a week? Again, answer is no, can't do that. So third entity which completes this business system is called consumers, who actually buys from these distributors or from the company directly and completes this business system. So there is a product supplier or a service supplier, then there are people who are actually marketing or distributing their products, and then there's this third entity who is consuming that. Make sense? So since I cannot do that first and second, I only can do the third thing, which I can be a consumer. And that's why you see 90% of this population of this city, of this country, after understanding that I cannot succeed in life with a job financially, still are not able to do anything else because there is no option. Make sense? Right? But thankfully, because of internet today and because of this business, direct selling business concept, there is another entity which has come in picture. What they're doing is, they're actually collecting these consumers at a single point. Right? So if you look at Facebook business domain, what they have done is they're not marketing anybody's product or service. Mark Zuckerberg is not selling anybody any stuff. He's accumulating people or consumers in one particular place and giving it to those distributors or these companies who are actually coming up with the product or a service to market their products and service. And whatever revenues gets generated, they have a decent amount of share in that. That's how Facebook became $100 billion company. Make sense? If you see Sachin, if you see Sehwag, if you see Virat Kohli, they are all multi-millionaires today. They also don't market or sell anybody's stuff hand to hand, just like these distributors or companies do. Because of their fan following, right now match is there on Thursday, right? India's same quarterfinal. So that particular day, because of the stars, they will have entire country almost sitting in front of a TV or in front of Cricinfo. And this companies knows that, okay, they have got these people together at a single point. Now I can market my products and service. And they are willing to share a lot of revenues with Virat Kohli and Dhoni and BCCI and all that, and Start Sports and all that. Make sense? That's what Start Sports is doing. They are able to get people at one single point. And that's what I have been able to do in this business, and that is the same opportunity you have. People in this country, thank God, right now we understand that population of our country is an asset, it's not a curse. 20 years back, we were against the population of our country, right? But today it is an asset. Foreigners like Mark Zuckerberg, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, you name it, you just name it, Bill Gates, everybody, they have made money out of this population of our country, making it as a business asset. And it is our own asset in our country, but you are not taking any benefit of it. And this business allowed me an opportunity to convert this population of our country into a business asset and make profits for myself, just like what Facebook is doing, just like what LinkedIn is doing. Right? And the beauty part about this is you'll see Mark Zuckerberg is stress-free. Have you seen that? They're stress-free. They're wearing cool t-shirt and they will talk great stuff, stress-free. If you see Sachin, Virat, Dhoni, they're cool. Why? They don't have the stocks or the products to sell. They don't have an inventory. They don't have the headaches that a business comes up with. And you will see me and Minati, all the leaders of this business, stress-free. Because all we do is, just like Dhoni and all these guys do, we bring people to one particular point. Only difference is, instead of just keeping them as a consumer, they made me also a business owner or an entrepreneur through this system. That's the beautiful part. You have to probably understand it more deeper to understand the power of this concept. Right now, direct selling industry in India is 8,000 crores. Right? According to FICCI and KPMG, they are in research and analysis, this industry, direct selling industry in India, is going to be 64,000 crore by 2020-2022. From 8,000 to 64,000 crores. If you think I'm a fluke, I'm a maverick who decided to do this business, right here as I speak, there's my platinum from Bangalore who has come down here, Joe Chamannam. He's an IIM Ahmedabad grad. In 2009, he got a job in Abu Dhabi. 2 lakhs rupees salary in Indian currency without tax. In Abu Dhabi, there is no tax. Tremendous salary. I mean, as an employee, that's a dream come true, more than a dream come true. But he had the sense to quit that and come to India to build this business because he knew, yeah. And for God's sake, he's an IIM Bangalore grad, so he has senses, he understands finances, right? There is Badrinath, he's an MTech from IIT Chennai, right from this city. He works with the top multinational company in Bangalore, and he is here. Right? There is Sandeep Kumar, who is AVP, Associate Vice President. He's from IIM Ahmedabad background. He's a Founders Platinum traveling around with me around the world. So, and there are many more. As I said, there's so many of such people who are from good backgrounds who are able to connect to this business for two reasons mostly. As one thing is they can live life on their own terms, and as they design their life on all these 4 areas to make their life grand, they saw this business which can take them there. And that's why we are building it passionate, because there is no other option. As I explained, I can't do a conventional business in spare time. So if I have any ambition to succeed financially and have a grand financial life and other kind of life, grand, no other option than this business. Make sense? Right? It was wonderful talking to you. I hope it gave you some kind of an insight why we are so passionate about this business. Right? We'll be back soon. Back to our host.